Even though Thor was quite rowdy, deep down he had a soft spot. That spot was reserved for his gorgeous wife, Sif. He cherished and loved her deeply. She had this amazing long and thick golden hair that flowed down her back like a field of corn. Sif was the one responsible for making sure the Norse folks' crops grew well. She traveled all across the northern lands, always being close to families, farms, and people working the land. Sif made sure their journey was easier despite the harsh northern winds, cold, and winters. Every woman understands that beautiful hair needs care. She took great pride in her hair and ensured she never had a bad hair day. This was especially important because she knew she wasn't the only one who adored her hair. Her husband Thor was equally proud of it. He'd boast about it while enjoying his mead, sharing with anyone willing to listen. From morning to night, Sif diligently combed her amazing hair using a jeweled comb. She frequently washed it in clear, sparkling streams and then spread it out under the sun to dry on a rock. With hair as thick as hers, you can imagine it took quite a bit of time to dry completely. On a sunny day, while lounging on a soft, mossy bank outside her house in Asgard, the realm of the gods, Sif was letting her golden hair dry in the sunlight. As she relaxed, she eventually dozed off. It's quite easy to drift into sleep under the warm sun when you're not up to much, and it's even easier when another god places a magical spell on you to ensure nothing can disturb your slumber. This mischievous act was the doing of Loki, the god of fire and mischief. He discovered Sif taking a nap, her stunning hair cascading around her. A wicked grin formed on his lips as he saw the opportunity to create chaos in the home of the thunder god. Loki knew that Thor prized Sif's golden hair above all else, and he was resolute in his intention to steal it away from him. While she was snoozing away, Loki sneakily grabbed his scissors and snipped off every single one of Sif's beautiful locks of hair. They fell one after another onto her shoulders and scattered down her dress. Her head was as bald as if she'd just gotten a buzz cut in the military or turned into a prisoner on some ship. Poor thing. After a bit, Sif woke up. Her head and neck felt chilly and oddly light. She glanced up and saw that the sun was still shining. Then she reached up to touch her hair and found nothing there. Looking down, she spotted all those curls lying around her. She dashed inside, totally horrified, and burst into tears. And suddenly, rain poured down heavily over all the corn in the north. People were left wondering, what on earth's going on with Sif? And she just kept crying and crying. That evening, Thor returned home. Yet, when he called out to his dear wife, her sweet voice didn't answer him. He figured she might be somewhere else, so he gently placed down his hammer and strolled over to the residences of the other gods, whistling as he went, searching for her. But Sif was nowhere to be seen. With a heavy heart, Thor headed back home, disheartened by the emptiness that greeted him. "Sif," he called over and over again, "come back to me." Then a soft whisper reached his ears. Sif stood in the shadows, keeping herself hidden, so Thor could only make out her silhouette. "My husband," she wept. "I feel ashamed for you to lay your eyes on me. I believe I must leave Asgard, the impeccable and beautiful abode of the gods, and find a place to conceal myself elsewhere." "Don't talk like that. What's happened to you, my dear, that you're saying such dreadful things?" the thunder god asked gently. "Step into the light so I can see you." "My treasured beauty, my hair is gone. Someone wicked has snipped it away from me. I don't want you to witness me like this, so I think I must leave." Thor realized it was true. Sif had lost her hair. Her shaved head still held its beauty, but the spark of joy in her eyes had faded. Instead, her face showed the signs of crying, and her distress deeply moved Thor's heart. Then, the people on Earth heard the heavens rumble with thunderous agony. "Who in the realms did this to you, Sif?" Thor fumed. "I, the mightiest of the gods, will hunt down the culprit responsible for this and bring them to justice. I'll compel the other gods to muster all their strength, magic, and powers to restore your magnificent golden hair." Guiding Sif under her veil, Thor took her to the gathering of the immortals, where some of the other gods and goddesses lounged on crystal benches, sipping mead while in discussion. None among them could reveal who had sheared Sif's hair. At last, Odin, the head of the gods and Thor's father, spoke up. "It likely was Loki," he declared. "He wields the power of fire, and we all know fire can be mischievous." No one else would carry out such a deed. Though fire wasn't the source here, it certainly brought about significant trouble, and Loki has always been drawn to mischief. But Thor, you must not end his life here. Among the gods in Asgard, there is no room for killing. I will locate Loki for you. Nevertheless, don't take his life. Furthermore, he possesses many talents, and perhaps he'll find a means to restore Sif's beauty. Thor grunted, his face flushed with anger. I'd love to end him, but that won't help Sif. Odin interjected once more. Calm your fury, my son. I will summon the call and all must heed it, even Loki. The sound of Odin's call was fearsome, yet every god and goddess not present in the council chamber had to abandon their activities and gather. Loki was no exception. As he surveyed the situation, it was evident that everyone stood against him. So he retorted, Where's your proof that I'm behind this? Come, Odin beckoned. Do not lie. Do not evade the truth. You've caused Sif and Thor great harm and you must set it right. I can't exactly sprout hair, Loki quipped, and even if I could, it wouldn't be on her head. None of the gods found his joke amusing. Loki glanced at Thor, famed for his temper, and then at Odin, who solemnly reiterated, You must rectify the wrong you've committed. Loki realized he would indeed need to find a way to restore Sif's beauty. And so Loki departed Asgard. His departure wasn't solely an attempt to evade Thor, though that was part of it. His main goal was to seek a solution. He didn't venture to the giants in Jotunheim despite having been there before and having some acquaintances among them, as far as it's possible to have friends among giants. Nor did he journey to Midgard, the realm of mortals. Loki understood that no man or woman possessed the ability to undo what had been done to Sif's hair. Instead, Loki ventured beneath the earth. This isn't something you or I could manage, as the insides of the earth are blazing hot and we'd never make it through. But Loki, being the god of fire, could venture downward through the passages within the earth. This is where the gnomes resided. Now, you might picture gnomes as unattractive, but they didn't view themselves that way, and Loki didn't mind. Deep inside the earth, the gnomes were expert craftsmen and the esteemed keepers of metals, minerals, and crystals. With their hammers and tongs, they had mastered the art of creating wondrous items of beauty and magic. Loki had seen them forge a magic spear that hit its target without fail, and even a boat that could sail anywhere yet be folded and placed in your pocket. Loki was sly, always buttering up the gnomes whenever he visited them. He lavished praise on their creations and made grand promises, despite them already possessing the world. Resisting flattery and false allurements requires more wisdom than the gnomes possessed, so they warmed up to him. No one else had treated them kindly, not even during their childhood, so their hearts softened. That's when Loki proposed, Do you possess enough gold and skill to craft a cap of floor-length hair as delicate as silk? The gnomes immediately got to work. They stitched, threaded, wove, and spun tirelessly until finally the cap of golden hair was complete. Even Loki had to admit he was impressed. It's undeniable, you truly are master craftsman. There's none better. Will you exchange this cap for the heavens and the earth? The gnomes, who were not clever, handed over the cap of golden hair to Loki, even though they already owned the earth and the heavens weren't his to trade. Loki bade his farewells and gladly emerged back into the fresh air of Midgard with the cap in hand. Then he ascended to Asgard and the heavens, seeking out Sif. Take off your veil, Sif, he instructed, because you're about to have your golden hair back. Placing the cap on Sif's head, it fit perfectly. Sif was so elated with her new hair that she twirled around, the long locks trailing behind her. The twinkle returned to her eyes, and as a radiant glow graced her cheeks, she once again looked stunning. And that's the tale of how Sif lost and then regained her golden hair. Do you want to hear interesting stories from cultures around the world? Subscribe to Lord for exotic tales, myths, and bedtime stories from all over, brought to the comfort of your own home.